Since the last time I spoke with you guys, a lot of news has popped up, not only in sports, but also in the entertainment industry as well. Today on the Stingray Scoop, I will break down all of the latest sports news and entertainment news regarding sports only on this edition of the Stingray Scoop. You know, that's right, guys. Feel like a champion, the CTS. Welcome into another edition of the Stingray Scoop, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well on this Friday evening, as it is 5 o'clock. When I'm doing it a little bit later today, but nonetheless, we got the Stingray Scoop in. But I do want to say that we are going to start with some very sad news to report that broke yesterday. And unfortunately, it has to deal with a former Heisman Trophy finalist. The superstar himself, Colt Brennan, was found dead Thursday. That was yesterday. He was 37 years old. Now, here is the statement surrounding the death of Colt Brennan. He said his dad reported that he died Thursday morning at a California hospital following a drug overdose. Now, he ingested something laced with fentanyl and never regained consciousness. Colt Brennan had earlier been in a rehabilitation facility. Now, if you do not remember who Colt Brennan is, he led Hawaii to an unprecedented and memorable 2007 season in which they went undefeated in the regular season. He passed for 53 touchdowns that year. They finished the season undefeated, and then, of course, played Georgia and fell short against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl back in New Orleans in 2007. He was the WAC Offensive Player of the Year, and he was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy winner. They was second behind the Heisman Trophy winner that year. So a very sad news to report of Hawaii football legend Colt Brennan could not kick the overdose and the addiction issue. So unfortunately, he died at age 37. So that is very sad news to report there. Now, let's switch to another team, and we have some exciting news if you are an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. Former linebacker of the Tennessee Volunteers, Henry Tutu, has now become a Crimson Tide player. Now, you may remember him as a player that Nick Saban really wanted in the draft. In recruitment. However, he was nabbed by Jeremy Pruitt. Now, with the coaching change up there at Tennessee, Henry Tutu will now be making his start as in the next season as an Alabama Crimson Tide. He was the 44th player nationally in the 2019 class and was rated at as high as number 3 outside linebacker in the country. Everybody thought he was going to be a Nick Saban guy, and then of course Jeremy Pruitt nabbed him in a major recruiting signing. All right, so Tutu is now going to be coming to the University of Alabama under Nick Saban because of the coaching change up there at Tennessee. So it's going to be real interesting. He has 2 years of eligibility left in his playing days in college. So he will be a Alabama Crimson Tide. Okay, so when we talked last week, it looked like that Tim Tebow was going to try out for the team. It does look like now that Tim Tebow will be signing on the dotted line with the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, there is a split between the players on Tim Tebow's signing, and there is a lot of issues within the media because his former teammate on the SEC network, his former broadcast partner, Marcus Spears, said that he does not feel like Tim Tebow is ready for the NFL because he has not played in the NFL since 2012. And plus, Tim Tebow is 33 years old. That's getting on up there in age. And so everybody feels like that this is going to be a major bust for Tim Tebow, going from quarterback over to tight end. But nonetheless, he is supposed to sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, whether or not he will make the 53-man roster is still yet to be seen. But for right now, he is still signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And there are a lot of issues in the locker room as they are split on Tim Tebow being signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, so I need to also point this out before we go into another direction. You notice that I'm wearing the maroon shirt. That is because this past week, if you were a Mississippi State fan, we had 2 breaking news things out of Starkville. The first one is that the 2021 Egg Bowl returns to Thanksgiving night, and that will be on November the 25th in Starkville, Mississippi. Now, last year it was up in Oxford and it was played on a Saturday. However, this year and in the coming years, as long as the game is in Starkville, it will always be played on Thanksgiving evening, like it used to back in the 90s when that rivalry was really, really nasty. And then it kind of took a lesser, it had less meaning because both teams were really bad. And so now with both teams having good coaches again, then both of these games are going to be on Thanksgiving evening, and that will be November the 25th. Also, if you are a Bulldog basketball player, DJ Stewart is expected to remain in the 2021 NBA draft. So that is not good news for Ben Howland because Mississippi State last year or I should say earlier this year, got all the way to the championship game in the NIT, which they lost to the champions, the Memphis Tigers. And really, Ben Howland needed everybody back, but unfortunately, that is not going to be the case, as DJ Stewart is expected to remain in this draft period. Now, for any of you that are SEC baseball fans, we are down to 2 weeks left in the regular season before we get to Hoover. All right, so here is the SEC West standings as of today, and this weekend Texas A&M plays Auburn, and that is going to be significant because the loser of that series is probably going to be out of the running for a chance to get to Hoover. Now, as you can see, Alabama is sitting there 11-12 overall. I mean, in the conference, 19-10 at home and 28-17 overall. Now, Alabama should be a little bit better than 11-12 in conference. However, they have lost a ton of games by 1 run or 2 runs. Too many close losses for the Crimson Tide. But if the season ended today, right now, the 2 teams that would be left out of the field going to Hoover would be Auburn and Missouri, because both teams have the worst record in the conference. Missouri has a 5-20 record, 5 wins, 20 losses in conference. And Auburn over here in the West has 6 wins and 18 losses. So if the season ended today, it would be Auburn and Missouri both left out of the SEC tournament, and the remaining teams would be going to Hoover. And if Alabama does make Hoover, it will be the first time in 5 years that they have actually made it back to Hoover. So this weekend, we're going to have Alabama take on LSU in the West, and also Texas A&M is going to face Auburn. And the loser of that series, the Texas A&M Auburn series, will pretty much be eliminated from the SEC tournament up there in Birmingham. All right, so I told you guys that I had a little bit of entertainment news to talk about today, and we really don't talk that much on the show about the entertainment side of things, but it wraps into sports. Garth Brooks to play Memorial Stadium, which is in Lincoln, Nebraska, at the University of Nebraska in August. Okay, so this is supposed to be one of the biggest concerts of the year. Now, he is supposed to play August the 14th. This will be the second concert ever at the 98-year-old stadium, which hosted Farm Aid III in 1987. Larry the Cable Guy had a stand-up comedy show there 12 years ago, but this will only be the second concert ever at the 98-year-old stadium right there on campus at the University of Nebraska. Now, there is expected to be 90,000 people there at that concert. Tickets for the show for Garth Brooks go on sale at 10 a.m. on May the 21st and are $94 a piece. So once again, the ticket sales go on at May the 21st at 10 a.m. for Garth Brooks in Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they're expecting 90,000 people at that event. They're also, Garth Brooks is doing another bunch of stadium tours, including Cincinnati's Paul Brown Stadium, September the 18th, and at the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina on September the 25th. And both of those stadiums are supposed to seat 75,000 people. So once again, there it looks like that Garth Brooks will be selling around 90,000 fans there in attendance when Garth Brooks plays in Memorial Stadium later this summer in Lincoln, Nebraska. So that's going to wrap up this edition of the Stingray Scoop. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I do have a couple of things left to show you. One is a very, very exciting thing that I'm excited to announce to you guys. So I will play this video here for you, and then I will let you guys know how you can find me. What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do when Stingray takes over Cameo? Guys, I am so excited to finally be on Cameo and to give you guys and anybody that you would like a shout out for special people in your lives. If you would like for me to do an anniversary shout out, a graduation shout out, or a hype video for a sports team, just let me know and I'll be happy to do that for you guys. Let me know, and as always, God bless. You can find me on Cameo at Stephen Stingray Ray. So that's the big news that I've got today. And you know me, Stingray, the sports guy, but also the weather guy. I've got to show you this before we go because this is something that is unprecedented, that we don't often see in the weather community. So I've got this popped up right here, and I'm going to play this for you because this is about as serious as it can get. There was a tornado, a confirmed tornado that did damage yesterday in Shanghai, China. Yes, Shanghai, China can get tornadoes. They are rare, but there is the tornado that rolled through Shanghai, China yesterday afternoon. What will this crazy weather throw at us next, folks? Who knows? Also, I do need to mention that we are 18 days removed, or 18 days away from the start of hurricane season. Guys, last year alone, we saw 30 named storms last year in the 2020 hurricane season. This hurricane season has the potential to be just as bad. So, guys, you need to prepare yourself for an active hurricane season that starts in 18 days on June the 1st. Guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Stingray Scoop. Make sure that you tune in. Give me just a second because the founder of the CTS, let me just go ahead and pop this up here real quick. the founder of the CTS, Joey Lozada. Hope I'm saying that correctly, Joey. He wanted me to remind you guys that this Sunday we are having Jeremy Nunez, who has a comedy special on Amazon Prime, Who's With Me, on the Sunday interview. So once again, this Sunday, check the Facebook page and, of course, YouTube for the Jeremy Nunez interview with Joey Lozada. Also, on Tuesday night, you can find the Bama Standard right here on the Facebook page and YouTube. And this week on the Bama Standard, they are going to have Charlie Peppra, the former Alabama great. So once again, Sunday, Jeremy Nunez on the Sunday interview, and then next Tuesday, Charlie Peppra on the Bama Standard. And then I will be right back here next Friday on another edition of the Stingray Scoop. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And as always, from me, God bless.